Welcome back to soothing Dreamtime ambience. Take this moment to take a deep breath and relax. Please hit the subscribe and like this video. That is the free and easy way to support our work. Now let's get into the video. Take a deep breath and get comfortable. Tonight, we're going to explore the gentle landscapes, quiet history, and peaceful facts about Wisconsin. The Badger State. There's no need to focus too hard on anything I say. Just let the words wash over you like gentle waves on a lake. Wisconsin has over 15,000 lakes, you know, and we'll visit some of them together tonight. In our minds. Let yourself relax. Sink deeper into wherever you're resting. And just listen. Or drift away. Whatever feels right. Wisconsin is called the land of lakes. And it truly is. Over 15,000 lakes to the landscape. Some large, some small, each one holding its own quiet story. Lake Winnebago, one of the largest, stretches across 137,000 acres. Imagine standing on its shore at sunset, watching the light dance across the water, the gentle lapping of waves, again and again, a rhythm as old as time itself. The lake is shallow, mostly about 15 feet deep on average, which means it freezes solid in winter, becoming one of the largest frozen lakes in the world. People drive trucks across it. Ice fishing. But right now, just imagine the stillness, the white expanse, quiet, peaceful. Then there's Lake Geneva, a resort lake in the southern part of the state. Clear water, about 135 feet deep at its deepest point. In summer, the lake stays around 70 degrees. Comfortable, inviting. Around Lake Geneva, there are old estates, built in the late 1800s. Wealthy families from Chicago would escape there for the summer. They built grand homes, mansions along the shoreline. Many are still there, watching over the water, year after year, decade after decade. Lake Superior, of course. touches Wisconsin's northern shore, the largest of the Great Lakes, the largest freshwater lake in the world by surface area. Its cold waters, rarely warming above 55 degrees even in summer. The Apostle Islands sit in Lake Superior. 22 islands. Sea caves carved by centuries of waves. In winter, when the lake freezes, you can walk to some of them, through ice caves that glow blue in the sunlight. But in your mind, you can visit any time, just floating, peaceful, calm. Devil's Lake, a state park, surrounded by 500-foot quartzite bluffs. The lake has no inlet or outlet, just sitting there, serene, contained. 360 acres of clear water. In autumn, the bluffs turn red and gold, reflected in the still surface. Doubled beauty, quiet beauty. Each lake has its own temperature, its own depth, its own personality, if you will. Some are busy in summer. Others remain peaceful year-round. But tonight, they're all quiet. Just water and sky, and the occasional call of a loon, echoing across the surface. Nearly half of Wisconsin is covered in forest. About 16 million acres of trees. Imagine walking through those woods. The soft crunch of pine needles under your feet. The dappled sunlight filtering through the canopy above. The state tree is the sugar maple, Acer sacrum. In autumn, these maples turn brilliant orange and red. But in summer, they provide cool shade, their leaves rustling softly in the breeze. That gentle whisper that sounds like Wisconsin produces maple syrup. Tapping those sugar maples in late winter. Early spring, when the sap runs. It takes about 40 gallons of sap to make just 1 gallon of syrup. Slow process. Patient process. The sap dripping, drop by drop, into buckets. The Northwoods, in northern Wisconsin, are dense with trees. white pine, red pine, hemlock, birch, tall trees, old trees, some standing for hundreds of years, just standing, swaying slightly, patient, constant. Paper birch trees grow there too, with their distinctive white bark peeling in thin layers. Native peoples used this bark for canoes, for baskets, for writing. The bark is waterproof, flexible, and it glows almost luminescent in moonlight, like natural lanterns in the forest. Chuquamagon-Nicolet National Forest covers over 1.5 million acres. Miles and miles of hiking trails wind through it. But you don't need to hike tonight. Just imagine sitting beside a trail, on a fallen log, perhaps, watching the shadows lengthen, listening to the forest breathe. In these forests live white-tailed deer, black bears, timber wolves, but they're all sleeping now, or moving quietly, so quietly you'd never hear them. The forest at night is surprisingly peaceful. The animals know how to move without sound. Oak trees too. White oak, red oak, bur oak. The bur oak is particularly hardy, living 200, 300, even 400 years. Imagine the things a 400-year-old tree has seen. Seasons turning, snow falling, rain falling, sun shining, again, and again, and again. In Door County, the cherry trees bloom in spring. Acres of orchards covered in white blossoms. The petals fall like snow. Gentle, soft, covering the ground in white. By summer, the cherries ripen, deep red, ready for picking. But now, in your mind, it's just blossoms, floating down, slowly, one by one. Water flows through Wisconsin, in rivers, streams, creeks. The Wisconsin River, the longest river in the state, flows 430 miles. from the forests of the north, down through the center of the state, to the Mississippi. The river moves at its own pace, sometimes fast over rapids, sometimes slow through wide valleys, never rushing the journey, just flowing as water does, finding its way. The Mississippi River forms part of Wisconsin's western border. The mighty Mississippi, one of the longest rivers in North America. It flows south, always south, carrying water from Wisconsin, from Minnesota, from many states, down to the Gulf of Mexico, thousands of miles away. But the river doesn't think about the destination. It just flows, 1 mile at a time, 1 moment at a time. Barges float down it, carrying grain, cargo, moving slowly, 3 or 4 miles per hour. No rush. The St. Croix River, forming part of the border with Minnesota, is a national scenic riverway, protected, preserved. Beautiful cliffs line portions of it. Limestone and sandstone, carved by water over millennia. The river keeps carving, patient, steady, working on the rock, year after year. Smaller streams too, like the Mekong River, a spring-fed trout stream, crystal clear water, bubbling up from underground, cold, pure, flowing through meadows and woods. You could spend hours just watching water flow over stones. The patterns, the ripples, the endless variation. Yet somehow, always the same. The sound of moving water is soothing. Scientists have studied this. Something about the white noise, the rhythm. It helps our brains relax. Let that sound fill your imagination now. Gentle water. over smooth stones. Constant. Reliable. Peaceful. Wisconsin is known for dairy. America's dairyland, they call it. More than 1.2 million dairy cows live in Wisconsin, producing billions of gallons of milk each year. These cows have a routine. They're milked twice a day, morning and evening, around 5 a.m. and around 5 p.m. every day. The same schedule. Cows like routine. It keeps them calm. Content. A dairy cow eats about 100 pounds of feed each day. Hay. Grain. Silage. They chew their cud. That gentle, rhythmic chewing. Processing their food. Feeding billions of bacteria. Turning grass into protein. Slowly. Thoroughly. There's no hurrying a cow. The milk is made into cheese. Wisconsin produces more cheese than any other state. Over 3 billion pounds per year. Cheddar. Swiss. Colby. Mozzarella. Each cheese ages differently. Some for weeks, some for months, some for years. Waiting. Developing flavor. Slowly. Picture a cheese cave. Cool. Dark. Quiet. Wheels of cheese stacked on wooden shelves. Aging. The cheese maker comes through occasionally. Turning the wheels. Checking them. But mostly, the cheese just sits there, transforming slowly. In the dark. In the cool. In the quiet. Cranberries grow in Wisconsin too. In marshes. Bogs. The cranberry vines spread across the wet ground. Low. Creeping. In autumn, they flood the bogs to harvest the berries. The cranberries float to the surface. Thousands of them, bobbing in the water. red dots covering the surface like a ruby sea. The harvest is gentle. A machine makes small waves that loosen the berries from the vines. Then they're corralled, like shepherding very small, round sheep, toward the collection point, floating along. No resistance, just going with the flow. Ginseng grows in Wisconsin too. In shaded beds under artificial shade cloth. Ginseng is slow. It takes 3 to 4 years before the roots are ready to harvest. Just growing. Slowly. Underground. In the dark. Patience rewarded. Corn grows in the southern counties. Tall stalks, green in summer, turning golden brown in autumn. The wind moves through cornfields, creating a rustling sound, like paper, like whispers. The corn sways, all together, like a dance in slow motion. Soybeans too, fields of soybeans, low plants, with fuzzy pods. The pods rattle when they're dry, ready for harvest. But before that, the fields bloom with small purple or white flowers. Subtle, easy to miss, but beautiful if you look closely. Farms in Wisconsin often have red barns. That traditional barn red, made originally from rust, from linseed oil, from lime, built to last. Some of these barns are over 100 years old, still standing, still serving, weathered, but sturdy. At sunset, the light hits those red barns just right, making them glow. Warm. Inviting. The cows are in for the night. The chickens roosting. Everything settling down. The farm is quiet. Just the sound of wind. Maybe a barn cat walking across the hayloft. Everything peaceful. Everything still. Wisconsin has many small towns. places with populations of 1,000, 500, even fewer. Towns where everyone knows everyone, where life moves at a different pace. New Glarus, settled by Swiss immigrants in 1845. The buildings have Swiss architecture, chalet style, flower boxes in summer, overflowing with geraniums, red, pink, white. The town even has a yodeling festival. But right now, it's quiet. Just a peaceful village in the rolling hills. Mount Horeb calls itself the troll capital of the world. Wooden troll sculptures line the streets. Not scary trolls, friendly ones, whimsical ones, each one carved by hand, taking weeks to complete, standing guard, watching over the town, year after year. Fish Creek in Door County, an old village, one of the oldest summer theatre in the country operates there. Since 1935. Every summer. Plays and musicals. The same stage. The same curtain. Opening and closing. Season after season. In these small towns, the pace is slower. The grocery store might close at 6 p.m. The streets are quiet after dark. Porch lights on, but mostly just darkness and stars. So many stars you can see when there's no city lights. The Milky Way stretching across the sky. Ancient light, traveling for thousands of years to reach your eyes. Stockholm, on the Mississippi River. Population less than 100. An arts community. Pottery. Paintings. Quiet studios where artists work. The clay turning slowly on the wheel. Hands shaping. Gentle pressure. Patience creating form. Eagle River in the Northwoods. known for snowmobiling in winter. But in summer, it's all about the lakes. Chain of 28 lakes connected by rivers and streams. You could paddle from one to another. To another. Gliding across the water. Dipping the paddle. Left. Right. Left. Right. A rhythm. Meditative. Peaceful. Bayfield on Lake Superior. Gateway to the Apostle Islands. In autumn, it hosts an apple festival. Orchards surround the town. In spring, apple blossoms. In summer, small green apples growing. By fall, ripe and ready. Red. Yellow. The trees heavy with fruit. Branches bending slightly. Under the weight, but not breaking, just bending, gracefully. These towns have main streets, often called Main Street, or sometimes Front Street. Old storefronts. Some occupied, some empty. Time moves differently here. A store might have been a barber shop in 1920. A hardware store in 1950. A coffee shop now. The building remains patient, hosting different tenants, decade after decade. In the town square, there might be a gazebo, white painted wood, lattice work. On summer evenings, sometimes a concert. But most nights, it just sits empty. Waiting. Ready if needed. But content to just be. Wisconsin has 4 distinct seasons. Each one different. Each one beautiful in its own way. Winter. Wisconsin winters are cold. Very cold. Temperatures dropping below 0. But there's a stillness to winter. The snow falls silently. Each flake is different. Tiny crystals of ice. They say no two are alike. Billions of snowflakes, each unique. falling quietly, accumulating. Snow covers everything, softening the landscape, muffling sound. The world becomes quiet under snow. Footsteps make that squeaking crunch. When it's very cold, but mostly silence. The lakes freeze. Ice fishing shelters to the surface. Little houses, warm inside. People sitting, watching a hole in the ice, waiting for a fish to bite. Sometimes waiting for hours. But that's okay. That's the point. Slow. Meditative. Peaceful. Icicles form on the eaves of houses. Growing slowly. Drip by drip. When the sun warms things slightly, then freezing again. Each day, a little longer. Some get to be feet long, hanging there, catching the light. Prisms of ice. Spring comes slowly to Wisconsin. First, the snow melts. Drip. Drip. Water running. Puddles forming. The ground is muddy. Brown. Not pretty yet, but alive. Earthworms emerge. Robins return, looking for those worms. Pussy willows bloom first. Soft grey catkins. Fuzzy. If you touch them, they feel like velvet. Like a cat's ear. Gentle. Delicate. Then other trees bud. Tiny green buds. Slowly swelling. Then opening. That bright spring green. So different from summer's deeper green. Fresh. New. Full of potential. Daffodils push up. Yellow blooms. Nodding in the breeze. Tulips too. Red. Yellow. Purple. Garden by garden. Neighbors compare whose are blooming first. Friendly competition. But really, everyone's just happy to see color again. after months of white and brown. Summer. Long days. The sun rises early, before 5 a.m. in June. Doesn't set until after 8 p.m. Long, languid days. Warm, but not usually too hot. The average July temperature is in the low 80s. Comfortable. Fireflies come out at dusk. Lightning bugs, some call them, blinking their lights. On. Off. On. Off. Drifting through the air. Each blink is the firefly saying hello. Looking for a mate. A language of light. Children try to catch them in jars. Carefully. Gently. Watch them blink in the jar. Then let them go. Back into the night. Back to blinking. On. Off. On. Off. Summer nights are perfect in Wisconsin. Not too hot. Sometimes a breeze. Sleeping with the windows open. Crickets chirping. That rhythmic chirp. 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 Constant. A summer lullaby. Autumn. September and October. The leaves change. Slowly at first. A tree here. A branch there. Then suddenly. Everywhere. Red. Orange. Yellow. Purple even. Some maples turn so red they look like they're on fire. But it's a slow fire. The leaves hang on. Week after week. Until finally they let go. Falling. Spinning as they fall. Landing softly on the ground. Accumulating. Layers of leaves. Children jump in them. The leaves crackle. The smell of autumn. Earthy. Sweet. Slightly spicy. Harvest time. Pumpkins in the fields. Orange globes among the brown vines. Apple orchards busy with pickers. the apples making that satisfying sound as they drop into the basket. Thunk. Corn stalks dry and brown, ready to come down. The days get shorter, darker earlier, but the light is beautiful. Golden hour lasts longer somehow. That soft, warm light. Everything glows. Geese fly overhead. V formations. Hunking. Going south. They've been doing this for millennia. The same routes, the same journey, instinct guiding them. They don't question it. They just go. Together. Supporting each other. The lead goose works the hardest. So they take turns. Leading. Following. Working together. Then winter comes again. The cycle continues. As it has. As it will. Season after season. Year after year. Reliable. Constant. The earth turning. The seasons changing. Predictable. Comforting in its predictability. White-tailed deer are everywhere in Wisconsin. Over 1 million of them. Browsing in forests. Crossing roads. In winter, they yard up. Gathering in areas with shelter. Moving as little as possible. Conserving energy. A deer's life is simple. Eat. Rest. Stay alert. They're crepuscular. Most active at dawn and dusk. That soft light. The in-between times. They move silently through the forest. Barely a sound. Their ears rotate. Listening. Always listening. Those big ears can hear so much. A twig snap. A leaf rustle. They hear it all. But right now, they're resting, bedded down, chewing their cud. safe, calm. Black bears live in the northern forests. In summer, they eat berries. A lot of berries. Sometimes 20,000 berries in a single day. Imagine eating that many. One berry at a time. Pluck. Chew. Swallow. Repeat. It's meditative work. In winter, bears don't truly hibernate. They go into torpor, a deep sleep. Heart rate slows. Breathing slows. But they can wake if disturbed. Mothers give birth during this time. Tiny cubs, born in winter. Nursing. Growing. All while mother sleeps. Nature is remarkable. Beavers build dams. Engineering marvels. Stick by stick. Mud. Rocks. They work at night. Gnawing down trees. Aspen is their favorite. The sound of a beaver gnawing is rhythmic. Scrape. 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 Patient work. A large tree might take several nights. The dam grows, backing up water, creating a pond. The beaver's lodge sits in the middle, safe from predators. Underwater entrance. Above water living space. Cozy. Dry. Secure. Loons on the northern lakes. Their call is haunting. Beautiful. A long, wavering cry that echoes across the water. They've been calling like that for millions of years. Before humans. Before Wisconsin was Wisconsin. Just loons. And water. And that call. Loons dive for fish. They can stay under for over a minute, paddling with their feet, underwater, quiet. Then they surface, often with a fish. They swallow it whole, then preen their feathers, maintaining that waterproof coat. Careful, methodical. Sandhill cranes, tall birds, grey, with a red cap. Their call is rattling. Prehistoric sounding. Cranes mate for life, dancing together, bowing, leaping, a courtship dance, but also a bonding dance, reaffirming their connection year after year. Eagles, bald eagles. Wisconsin has a healthy population. They were endangered once, but they've recovered. Now you can see them along the rivers, perched in tall trees, watching the water, waiting for a fish. When an eagle spots a fish, it drops, swooping down, talons extended, plucking the fish from the water, barely getting wet, then carrying it to a perch to eat or to feed its young. Efficient, powerful, but also patient. Sometimes watching for hours before striking. Butterflies in summer. Monarchs migrating through. Orange and black wings. They're traveling to Mexico. Thousands of miles. Such a small creature. Such a long journey. They stop to feed. On milkweed. On coneflowers. Sipping nectar. Their proboscis uncurling. Like a tiny straw. Drinking deeply. Then moving on. Generations of monarchs make the journey. The ones that start in Wisconsin won't finish in Mexico. Their great-great-grandchildren will. But they all know the way. Somehow. Instinct written into their DNA. The route memorized by the species, if not by the individual. Hummingbirds visit feeders. Ruby-throated hummingbirds. Tiny. Iridescent. Their wings beat so fast. They hum, hovering in place, feeding on sugar water or flower nectar, drinking while flying. Perfect balance. Perfect control. At night, owls hunt. Great horned owls. Barred owls. Their flight is silent. Special feathers. Serrated edges. That muffle sound. They glide through the forest. Listening. Watching. Patient hunters. A mouse in the leaves below. Rustling. The owl hears. Calculates. Drops. Perfect precision. It's nature. Not cruel. Just nature. The owl feeds its owlets. The cycle continues. Wisconsin's wildlife. All connected. All part of the ecosystem. Each species playing its role. Predator. Prey. Pollinator. Scavenger. All together. All necessary. A balance. Delicate. But strong. People have lived in Wisconsin for over 12,000 years. After the glaciers receded, native peoples came. The Menominee, the Ojibwe, the Ho-Chunk, the Potawatomi, many others. They lived with the land, fishing the rivers, hunting in the forests, harvesting wild rice from the marshes. Wild rice grows in shallow water. Long grains, nutty flavor. The harvest is traditional. Bending the stalks over a canoe, gently knocking the grains loose. They fall into the canoe. Some fall into the water. Next year's crop. European explorers came in the 1600s. Jean Nicolet in 1634, looking for a passage to China. He landed on the shores of Green Bay, met the Menominee people. He didn't find China, but he found Wisconsin. French fur traders followed. Coureurs de bois, runners of the woods. They traveled by canoe through the Great Lakes, down the rivers, trading for beaver pelts. Beaver hats were fashionable in Europe. So men paddled through wilderness for fashion, for trade, for adventure perhaps. The canoes they used, birch bark canoes, light enough to carry, strong enough for rapids. The traders would paddle all day, camping on shore at night. A fire, some pemmican to eat, the sound of the river, the forest at night, then up at dawn, and paddle again. In the 1800s, settlers came. Germans, Norwegians, Poles, Swiss, each group bringing their culture, their traditions, their way of building, their foods. The Germans brought beer brewing. Milwaukee became famous for it. Pabst, Schlitz, Miller, Blatz. Beer barons built grand homes. Breweries employed thousands. The smell of brewing. Malty. Sweet. Hung over the city. Brewing beer is patient work. Mixing grain and water. Boiling with hops. Fermenting. Aging. Each step takes time. Can't rush it. Won't be right if you rush it. Good beer takes time. Norwegians settled in the West. Building farms. Red barns. White houses. They brought their language. Their foods. Lefse. Lutefisk. Their holidays. Their way of celebrating. Lumber was big business. The great forests of northern Wisconsin. White pine. Tall and straight. Perfect for lumber. Lumber camps in winter. Men working in the cold. Cutting trees. Hauling logs to the frozen rivers. In spring, the ice melted. Log drives began. Thousands of logs floating down river. Men jumping from log to log. Breaking up jams. Dangerous work. But the logs needed to get to the sawmills. So down the river they went. The sawmills screamed all day. Whining saws. Cutting lumber. Board after board after board. The smell of fresh cut wood. Pine sap. Sawdust piling up. By the 1920s, most of the forests were gone. Cut down. Used up. But forests grow back. Slowly. Tree by tree. Year by year. Now the forests have returned. Not the same as before, but returned. Green again. Living again. Lead mining brought early settlers to southwestern Wisconsin. The lead region. The driftless area. Miners came in the early 1800s. They dug for lead, needed for bullets, for other things. These early miners lived in dugouts, holes in the hillsides, like badgers. That's where the nickname came from. Wisconsin badgers. Not because of the animal, because of the miners burrowing into the earth. The railroad came, connecting the state. Iron rails, wooden ties, spike by spike, mile by mile. Towns grew up along the rail lines. Grain elevators, cattle pens. The train station was the center of town. People gathered there to send, to receive, to say hello, to say goodbye. The whistle of a train, long and low, echoing across the prairie. That lonesome sound. Trains still run through Wisconsin. Freight mostly now. Long lines of cars. Grain. Containers. Coal. Rolling through. Day and night. The whistle still sounds. At every crossing. Warning. Announcing. A sound that speaks of distance. Of going. Of coming. The Wisconsin Dells. Carved by the Wisconsin River. Not carved recently. Carved when a glacial lake burst through. Catastrophic flooding. But that was 14,000 years ago. Now it's just beautiful. Sandstone cliffs. Standing tall beside the river. Layered stone. Each layer a different time. Different era. Compressed. Hardened. Waiting. You can take a boat tour through the dells. The boat moves slowly, putting along. The engine a steady hum. The cliffs rise on either side. Some have caves, carved by water. By time. Dark openings. Cool inside. Echo Y. Devil's Lake State Park. Those 500-foot quartzite bluffs we mentioned before. The lake sits in a glacial depression, left behind when the ice melted. 12,000 years ago. The ice was a mile thick. Imagine the weight. Pressing down, reshaping the land. When the ice melted, water filled the low spots, becoming lakes. The higher ground became bluffs. The glacier left boulders, big rocks, called erratics, carried by the ice from Canada. From the north, left here, scattered on the bluffs, strangers in a strange land. But they've been here so long now. They belong. Cave of the Mounds. Underground. Near Blue Mounds. A limestone cave. Discovered by accident. In a quarry. Workers blasting stone. Broke through into the cave. Surprised. Delighted, perhaps. Inside. Stalactites hang from the ceiling. Stalagmites grow from the floor. It takes 100 years for a stalactite to grow 1 inch. Drip. Drip. Minerals deposited. Building. Slowly. Some are 10 feet long. Thousands of years old. Just dripping. Building. In the dark. The temperature in the cave is constant. 52 degrees. All year round. Cool in summer. Warm in winter. The cave doesn't know what season it is. Doesn't care. Just stays the same. Stable. Unchanging. Hurricane Marsh. One of the largest freshwater marshes in the United States. Over 30,000 acres. Shallow water. Cattails. Rushes. A haven for birds. Over 300 species have been recorded there. In autumn, geese stop at Hurricane during migration. Hundreds of thousands of them. Maybe a million. The sky fills with them. Their honking is constant. Like a conversation. Like a crowd. But it's all geese. They rest. They feed. Building energy for the rest of the journey south. Some stay for weeks. Then one day, they lift off. All together. The sky darkens with birds. And they're gone. South. Following routes older than memory. The Ice Age National Scenic Trail. A 1,200-mile hiking trail. Marking the edge of the last glacier. Where the ice stopped. 12,000 years ago. The trail follows the terminal moraine. The debris the glacier pushed ahead of it. Rocks. Soil. Piled up. Marking the ice's furthest reach. You could hike the whole trail. It would take months. Walking through forests. past lakes, over hills, through meadows, one step at a time, mile after mile. Or you could just hike a section. An afternoon walk. A day hike. The trail will be there. Waiting. Patient. The North Woods. Not one specific place. Just the northernmost forests. Dense. Deep. Quiet. Where cell service fades. Where streetlights don't exist. Where you can walk for hours and not see another person. In these woods, time feels different. Slower, maybe. Or maybe you're just more aware of it. The sun moves through the trees. Shadows shift. The light changes. You notice. Because there's nothing else demanding your attention. Just the forest. And you. And time. Passing. Friday night fish fry. A Wisconsin tradition. Supper clubs and restaurants serve fish. Usually cod. Beer battered. Deep fried. With French fries. Coleslaw. Rye bread. Tartar sauce. The tradition comes from Catholic practice. No meat on Fridays during Lent. But it became a year-round thing. A community thing. Families go out. Together. Maybe after work. Maybe after school activities. Sitting in booths. Waiting for the fish. The restaurant is warm. A little noisy. Conversation. laughter, the smell of fried food, comfortable, familiar, the same people, week after week, the same waitress maybe, who knows your order, who asks about your week, the old-fashioned, a Wisconsin drink, made with brandy, not whiskey like other places, brandy, with sugar, bitters, muddled orange and cherry, topped with soda, sweet, strong, often served at weddings, celebrations, toasts, cheers, scowl, Prost, depending on your heritage. Polka music still plays in Wisconsin. At festivals, at wedding receptions, the accordion wheezing out the melody, the drums keeping time. Papa, papa, dancing, people spinning, laughing, out of breath, then dancing more. The polka is simple. 3 steps. Repeat. Anyone can learn it. Grandparents dancing with grandchildren. The music pulls you in. Makes you want to move. Toe tapping, hip swing, joyful music, not sophisticated, just happy. Cheese curds, fresh cheese curds. They squeak when you bite them. If they're fresh enough. That squeak means the proteins are still intact. Still fresh. usually eaten within a day or two of making. Deep fried too. Breaded. Hot. Melty inside. Crispy outside. Bratwurst. Grilled brats. A Wisconsin staple. German heritage showing. The brats sizzle on the grill. Fat dripping. Flames leaping up. The smell. Savory. Smoky. Served on a hard roll. With mustard. Maybe sauerkraut. Maybe onions. Tailgating before Packers games. In Green Bay. Lambeau Field. People arrive hours early. Setting up grills in the parking lot. Folding chairs. Coolers. Grilling brats. Burgers. Drinking beer. Wearing green and gold. All green and gold. Jerseys. Hats. Face paint even. The Packers are special in Wisconsin. The only community-owned team in professional sports. The fans are the owners. Well, shareholders. It means something. Pride. Connection. The team belongs to Wisconsin. To the fans. Lambeau Field in winter. Snow falling during the game. The fans. Bundled up. Breath visible in the cold air. Cheering. Always cheering. The frozen tundra. They call it legendary. State Fair. Late summer. in West Milwaukee. 11 days of everything. Rides. Animals. Food. The cream puffs are famous. Light. Fluffy. Filled with fresh whipped cream. Dusted with powdered sugar. People eat dozens. Thousands are sold. Each one made fresh. Whipped cream piped in. One at a time. The animal barns at the fair. Cows. Pigs. Sheep. Chickens. Rabbits. Kids showing their animals. 4-H projects. The animals brushed. Groomed. Proud owners standing beside them. Nervous. Hopeful. Win or lose. They cared for that animal. Fed it. Raised it. That matters more than ribbons. Though ribbons are nice too. At night. The Midway lights up. Ferris wheels. Tilt-a-whirls. Lights flashing. Music playing. Games calling out. Step right up. 3 shots for $1. People walking. Cotton candy in hand. Corn dogs. Candy apples. The air smells like fried dough. Like sugar. Like summer ending. Wisconsin. A state of seasons. Of lakes. Of forests. Of small towns and cities. Of farms and factories. Of tradition and change. The land shaped by glaciers, carved by rivers, grown with trees, planted with crops, walked by millions of feet, human and animal, over thousands of years. Each lake holds reflections. Sky, trees, clouds, doubling the beauty, multiplying the peace. Each tree stands, growing, one ring at a time, year by year, patient, reaching for the sun, roots deep in the earth, connected. Each town has stories, people who lived there, who loved there, who worked, who dreamed. Generation after generation, building, maintaining, continuing. The seasons will keep turning. Winter to spring, spring to summer, summer to fall, fall to winter. Again and again. The cycle we can count on. Reliable, comforting. The animals will continue their rhythms, migrating, hibernating, hunting, nesting, as they have, as they will. Wisconsin abides. Quiet, strong, beautiful in every season. There if you need it. A place of water, of land, of sky. And now, as you rest, let Wisconsin rest too. The lakes still, The forest's quiet. The town's sleeping. Everything peaceful. Everything calm. Everything at rest. Breathe in. Breathe out. Let your thoughts drift like leaves on water. Turning. Floating. Eventually settling into stillness, into peace, into sleep. The stars are out over Wisconsin tonight. The same stars that have shone for billions of years. Light traveling, reaching you, reaching through time. Constant, eternal, beautiful. You are safe. You are calm. You are ready to rest, to drift, to dream, or to simply be. In this moment, in this peace, Wisconsin is sleeping, and you can too. Let go. Relax. Rest. Good night.